You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
Good evening, folks. It's Thursday. That's right. It's Friday Eve right here on KLRNradio.com. We are Jen and Rick. I am one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. We're live right now, and I have the other half of the crew, Miss Jen Homestead, here. To start off the night, though, I have to say I was rather bummed to find out yesterday that apparently while there was enough signatures for the initiative petition to be at least submitted in California to divide California into 3 states, the California Supreme Court decided that that actually violated the state's constitution because a referendum petition wouldn't be enough of a legality to actually divide the state. I was kind of bummed by that. I was looking forward to 3 different Californias. Man.
Well, I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. Coming from a person who has lived in California multiple times in her life. And it's a state that if you ignore the politics, I love very much, which I know is somewhat hard to do nowadays, to separate the two because the politics are so overwhelming and they're just everything's so crazy. But I mean, I never thought that this could really go forth in any serious way. So I do see, especially like from one of the areas that I lived in where there's a lot of agriculture and quite a bit of small business enterprises. I can see how from those folks' points of view, the liberals want to separate because be as wildly liberal as they can. But from those folks' points of view, I can see why they separate by run by far leftists. And that is not how there is a good chunk of California that is not even remotely on par with those extreme views.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the scary thing, because we know a couple of people that live out that way, because JD moved out that way, Ordy lives out that way, and the funny thing is you talk to people that live there, and they're like, we can't even find anybody that admits that they voted for these morons, and yet somehow they keep coming back in. But I think we found the answer, though, because apparently there is a certain town in California that shall remain nameless that has now decided to start giving illegal aliens voter ID so that they can vote in local elections. So for those of you who don't know, people with green cards, which are, like the actual legal immigrants that are here but not really citizens, yet are actually allowed to vote in a lot of local and even some state elections. They just can't vote in national elections. Well, a certain town in California has now decided they want to give that right to people that are here illegally. I remember when I kept saying this was going to happen, and everybody told me I was crazy. Seems like that's happening a lot lately.
Yeah, I would like to say that, and sometimes I'll be called a squish for this, but I'm actually for people that are here legally but are not yet citizens or are not naturalized, and maybe they won't ever be able to be. I don't know. But I actually am pro allowing people that are legally here and working and contributing to our economy and to our social structure and our communities and just even just making friends and hanging out at the bar with people. I am for them being allowed to vote in limited ways, especially since a lot of them end up owning property and all sorts of other things, being able to vote in limited ways within municipalities, within local politics, within even the state, if the state wants to do that. I'm super duper on board with that, because if they are here legally and they are paying taxes and they are contributing to this economy and they're contributing to the community and they're contributing, in a positive way to society, then I think that they should be able to have some sort of say. If the surrounding community deems that so. Again, I'm about everyone having a say in this. And so I don't have any issue with certain counties or cities or even states that they want to allow this to go on. Undocumented for the PC people, the illegal aliens being extended this courtesy is just absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, when I first started reading about it and I realized, that green card holders had a right to vote, I wasn't sure how I felt about that. And then I researched a little more and I realized that it's really kind of limited to, like municipality elections, school board elections, things like that. And that kind of makes sense because
things that actually affect them and that they're directly contributing to.
Yeah, and I mean, that actually makes sense. But to extend this, but here's my other issue with this, and this is something that we see happening more and more. The problem that I have is now that we're going to start extending this to illegals, who's going to make sure that they're not voting in national level elections?
Oh, it'll be almost impossible to determine. They'll get on legitimate rolls, which will then I don't know. Maybe there will be some sort of fault, but it just seems like we don't have exactly that secure enough of a system to begin with. We've had all kinds of issues in the past. So I don't see how this could really be reined in. Once you kind of go down that road, I think that I get it with legal immigrants, but I think that none of these legal immigrants are like clamoring and hounding and lobbying for, rights to national elections. But once we start going down this road for illegal immigrants who are not only hounding for preferential treatment, they're hounding for, privileges, they're hounding for welfare, and now they're hounding for actually, getting a say in elections. Well, it's never really going to stop, I don't think. No, and that's not something we've seen from legal immigrants.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. We have the silent majority that actually come in here. They do things legally. They do things the right way. And when they poll those people, the scary thing is they're even more opposed to illegal immigration than we are. Because they're like, look, dude, I came in here and I did this the right way, and I don't like the fact that you guys keep handing this stuff to people when I had to work my tail end off to be able to come in here. And that's what's amazing to me, because I have family members that have legally immigrated here. And anytime this subject comes up, they are the most passionate, the most vehement about it, that they're like, look, these people shouldn't be able to just come over here anytime they want. There was a process for this. I had to follow it. They should have to follow it. If they don't like it, I don't care. This is stupid. And I hear that we've gotten to the point where we just don't even talk about it anymore, because anytime it comes up, it's like an hour-long discussion, because once they get started, they don't stop, because that's how mad they are about it. And there's hundreds of thousands of people that feel this way, and the left is just like over here going, hey, yeah, we're going to open up all the borders for you guys and just let everybody come through. So my question with this is, for the open border crowd, and I can't seem to get an answer to this, when a country is no longer allowed to enforce or secure its own borders, is it actually still a country anymore? Asking for America, that's a hashtag. Just saying.
It is. It's a really good question. If we're just going to have, pretty much willy-nilly come and go, ebb and flow from anybody who wants to, then no, I guess we're really not. We should, even the European Union, as much as people, use that as an example of a free flow of immigrants, even they still have checkpoints that have kind of a system. And definitely there are places where it's easier to get in and move across and move through than other areas. And that depends, that goes from country to country. Like, it is easier to get in and out of and across Spain than it is to get in and out of and across the UK. It is easier to get in and out of and across Portugal than it is to get in and out of and across Sweden. And so those countries have still set some of their own limits, and they are still stricter at their borders when they want to be. They cannot deny EU citizens from being allowed to cross unless there is some sort of obvious problem with their background. They've been flagged. But as far as just, free flow traveling, they still have the right to stop people, to search people, to passport people, all that kind of thing. So it's still not even really that great of an example. We essentially already have that. Like, if you have your affairs in order, you can come here. And we do have a decent issue with people overstaying whatever the visitation period is that's allowed, or a temporary visa that is allowed. And that is a big issue. And it's also an issue in Europe, by the way. But we kind of already have that process of anyone can come and anyone can visit and anyone can see if they can then possibly get a visa of some sort to stay here. They can apply for some sort of legal status to stay here. But open up and say, we're never checking anything. Did I lose you?
You're still kind of here, but you're fading in and out. I don't know what's going on. It was really good the other night. Now it's kind of bad again. So anyway.
Yep, I'm showing.
Uh-oh. I think she might be gone now.
Wait, I hear you. I'm here.
Good. That's good. It's a good thing you said something, because I was about to start singing I Think We're Alone Now. Nobody wanted to hear that.
No, I'm just saying that, like, if they want to compare us to Europe or kind of the deal EU has, we do have that, basically. Anybody can come here that is not flagged, that has a legal passport and legal identification. They can try to stay and get a visa. They can extend their visa. They can try to apply for other various, areas of legal status. And so we already basically have open borders in a sense. People need to stop trying to act like we're fucking Gestapo and no one's allowed to interact. That's not the case. What we don't allow for is just no checkpoints and for free flow of anybody and everybody as long as they want, whenever they want. And that is no different than any other country on this planet. And in fact, it's much more lax than most other countries on this planet.
Yeah, including Canada and Mexico. But the funny thing, all these people that are screaming, we need open borders and abolish ICE and, we don't need all this and blah, 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 yada, 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 are the same people having a cow because Putin wants to come to D.C. If we had open borders, what would stop him?
Well, like I said to you off air, these people are freaking out about Putin when they welcomed the supreme leader of Iran several years ago, who was in New York freaking City and spoke at the UN. Are you kidding me? Yeah. You're going to have a problem with Putin coming, but you welcome. Come, give me freaking.
I don't think your internet likes me tonight. Uh-oh.
It shows me that it's fine.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
How annoying.
Everything's good on my side, too, but for some reason you just keep fading out. Now it's saying poor network connection, then it'll go away in a second. And I'm like, what is going on? Anyway.
We're going back and forth. Well, we'll fight through it. Hopefully it will clear itself up.
Well, let me see. There may be a little bit of something I can do on my end. May not help much, but it may help enough. I think I have my phone on the network. Let me get that off of there. See if that clears up. Maybe just enough bandwidth to stop the crazy. But it's just funny to watch them melting down. And I was gonna try to find the audio for it today, but I didn't have time to rip it. Apparently, Whoopi and Janine Shapiro had a cat fight on The View or The Vomit or whatever you want to call it. And apparently, Whoopi screamed "F you" right as they were going to break, and it got picked up on the mics.
Oh boy.
Fun times. I mean, but that's the thing. These people have gone completely insane. I mean, everywhere you look, it's complete insanity. Like
was that over the Trump derangement syndrome thing? Which, by the way, like Politico and CNN and Newsweek and everything have like picked up now, and they're like the new trend, and we're like the new trend. Welcome to 2 years ago.
We've
been calling it. We've been calling it Trump derangement syndrome for a long time.
Welcome to 2016. Glad you finally made it.
Yeah, but see here, but isn't that just proof in the pudding that they say that they watch and listen to like conservative news and conservative news circles and like Twitter and all those kinds of things, and they're listening to the conservative community, and they really aren't? Isn't that just perfect that they think that this is like the new thing sweeping conservatives? No, it's been a thing. We have been calling it this for 2 freaking years, and you're just now calling it like a new trend and a new label and a new thing. And they all picked up on it today or in the last couple of days. And I'm like, this is total proof that act like, oh, no, we're listening to the other side. Oh, we're paying attention to what they're doing. And you really aren't. You're only paying attention to anything that is, kind of bombastic. Anything that's like makes a lot of headlines, like the alt-right crap. You're not really looking at and listening to these conservative circles or these conservative blogs or conservative news sources. So you just proved it right there by the fact that you think that this is a new thing. It's not at all.
Well, it's only new because they've had. So you know how they talk about every Trump supporter having their head so far up Trump's rear end that they can taste his colon, right? So their issue is they've had their head so far up Putin's rear end that they can taste his colon since 2016. Because, it came out in October of 2016 per Barack Obama. And let's not forget, this is the same guy that when Donald Trump started talking about our elections possibly being compromised, let me be clear, it is impossible for our elections to be compromised. April 2016 or August 20 or October 2016. Let me be clear, our elections have been compromised. Are you kidding me right now? You just said this couldn't happen, then it happens. It happens on your watch with all of your people in place. You downplay it because Hillary Clinton was, according to your own numbers, 93% certain to secure the White House, so you thought it was going to be a moot point. Now it's not a moot point. You're still running around telling everybody the world's on fire, even though you were the one with the damn matches in your hand at the time. And we're the ones running around trying to put out your fires, and your whole news media conglomerate is just now figuring out that we don't like you morons. Because they don't pay attention. Because they've been too busy thinking and talking about Russia, and they've got visions of Trump being impeached in their heads, and God knows what they're thinking about with Putin. They've probably got that whole shirtless Putin and Obama thing going on.
But before that, they were just so in love with Obama that they couldn't even be objective to save their lives. Very few were able to be. And those few that were basically ousted from the circles. They were daring to criticize dear leader. And I think it's really funny that they can't see the irony in how they feel about Donald Trump and his followers. Yet it was actually media and beyond just regular people that were like this about Obama. But okay. And don't get me wrong, I am not at all a fan of the diehard, bowed downers in the Trump side of things. I do not like he can do no wrong and we have to always spin everything he says to good and we have to, just kiss his feet. I don't like that when it comes to anybody and to any politician at any level. It is not healthy. It is not good. But them freaking out about that and painting all those people as nut jobs when they were the actual nut jobs and they represent the press during Obama's years is just laughable.
It really is just kind of scary to think about their level of lack of self-awareness, I guess would be a way to put it. Speaking of lack of self-awareness, we're getting pretty close to the break, but I did want to talk about one other thing that I thought was absolutely hilarious today, because Hillary Clinton is back in the news. For the love of God, talk about two people that won't go away, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Anyway, Hillary Clinton is back in the news. She actually tweeted out something today that it was shameful and preposterous that Donald Trump was not willing to take any steps to protect any U.S. ambassadors, both current and former. Unfortunately, Ambassador Chris Stevens was unavailable for comment. Just saying.
I just cringed the second I saw it. I really did. I went, oh, ooh. Man, she set herself up for that one.
It's just their whole lack of self-awareness. That's like their whole, they have a new campaign slogan. I'm sure you've probably heard about it. So their last one, they had hope and change with Obama, and then they decided to jack something from Papa John's and started talking about a better deal, and now it's for the people. What they really should have said was para la gente de Mexico, because that's what they mean. They're not talking about for the American people. They're talking about for everybody else. And now the funny thing is, they keep telling us they don't really want socialism. That, anytime Republicans talk about how Democrats have become socialists, that we're just fearmongers, blah, 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 blah. They just started, they're launching a Medicare for All caucus in Congress tomorrow. Guess what side of the aisle is doing that? It's not the ours. Just saying. I mean, I'm just, granted, I've been doing this a long time, a lot longer than anybody realizes, because people didn't even really start realizing who I was until about 3 or 4 years ago. But I've been doing this for a long time. And the funny thing is, when I started doing this 10 years ago, everything that's going on right now is pretty much exactly what I told everybody was going to happen. We were going to have the left was going to go completely nuts, jump the shark, start pushing for government-controlled healthcare, government-controlled everything they could possibly think of. We were going to have people start trying to normalize the pedophile movement. Everything that I've been warning people about for years is happening in front of our faces, and people still tell me I'm nuts when I try to talk to them about it. That's the part that upsets me. We're watching it happen, but it doesn't matter, because the rank-and-file Democrats really don't feel this way, Rick. You're just picking on a handful of people that feel that way. The leader of the DNC just said that a democratic socialist is the future of the party, and she's dumb as a box of rocks.
Yeah, when it's happening like that, I mean, I don't really understand why you can deny it. When I do understand that there are a great many more normal type people in this country that vote Democrat that don't go this far leftist route. But when the people that are representing them, it's hard to believe that they are kind of going along with it. At the same time, I understand to a extent, because I am a conservative, but when Trump and some other conservatives say and do some certain things, and those are the leaders of my ideology, quote unquote, which I don't take as my leaders, but they put that on me, and they represent big, parts of not just the GOP, but of conservatism, then I kind of get being like, well, that's not really fair, because of course all conservatives don't agree with what they're saying and believe what they're saying. But the the Democratic Party has moved, so much farther left than they have been in a very long time. The platform, the viewpoints that were stated, and the platform that was run on by Barack Obama in 2008 would not be liberal enough for that party today. And that is saying something.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the scary thing is, when Elizabeth Warren becomes the center of your party, you got problems. I'm just saying.
Yep.
All right, so we're up against a break. We're going to pay some bills. This is the JandR Show. We'll be back in about 4 minutes. Don't go away. Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your healthcare? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. healthcare, freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty HealthShare and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
All right, folks, welcome back. This is Jen and Rick. We are live right here on KLRNradio.com. We are through the bottom of the hour at this point, so I guess we should probably move on to what became yet again pretty much the biggest topic of the day. We've kind of touched on the smaller ones. But this apparently, President Trump, in his usual fashion, told the world in a tweet that there was going to be a part due to the Putin summit, and apparently Putin is coming to D.C., sometime, I believe, in the fall. What was funny to me about this is I happened to be flipping through channels today because I was home because I wasn't feeling very well. And I landed on Fox News, and there was news coverage of the summit that was going on. I think it's in Colorado somewhere. And the DNI was on stage, and the person interviewing the DNI, and for some reason her name is escaping me right now, basically said, "This just in, Donald Trump through Twitter announces that Putin is coming to D.C. later this year." And he's like, what? The director of national intelligence apparently had no idea that Donald Trump had extended an invitation to Putin to come to D.C. Which, again, the only reason I find this funny at all is because the left is having kittens over Donald Trump inviting Putin to D.C., but these are the same people that want us to have open borders, which means he could pretty much come in here anytime he wanted to if we had open borders. So I'm really kind of confused as to why they're upset. But, yeah.
I mean, we host all sorts of, foreign leaders that are not exactly in line with American interests. I get that, it's a big deal because of the perceived, not the actual collusion and the most recent, developments with the Russian interference and attempted, kind of sabotage of our elections and everything. But in general, though, we've got so many people that we host so much more often that have done so much worse. So I don't really, whatever. I don't know. I can't get up in arms about when they can't be bothered to get angered over, other truly horrid leaders meeting and dignitaries meeting with our president during a term where there's a D behind their name, then I just can't be bothered to get up in arms about this, quite frankly.
I mean, for me, most of my issue is my outrage meter is pretty much busted at this point because, I mean, let's face it, we were supposed to have died 9,995,342 times since November 8th, 2016, and we're still here.
Well, I'm just a ghost because of net neutrality.
Maybe that's why our connection sucks so much. Damn Republicans.
Yeah, it probably is that.
Stupid net
But,
neutrality.
they're just, you're going to mention Putin at any point now, and it's just going to be outrage. I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't like the guy. I think he's a total creep. I think he's a jerk. I think he treats his citizens horribly. I think that he's authoritarian as all get out. And I think he's not half as clever as he thinks he is, but I think he's more clever than the majority of our intelligence community and maybe not our intelligence community, but our past leadership has given him credit for. And I don't want him anywhere near American soil, but I also can't really freak out about him coming. I don't like the fact that he'd be invited, but I can't much more than meh about it.
I'm just honestly surprised that Donald Trump hasn't pulled a Barack Obama and went, hey, Nancy Pelosi, the 1980s have called. They want their foreign policy back. Yeah, it was good enough for Obama. I mean, look, that's the whole thing. Romney tried to tell everybody. I mean, and I still believe what Romney said. Russia is our biggest geopolitical foe next to China. Now that we've taken a backseat to everybody for 8 years, I think they're more neck and neck than they were even when Romney said that. But the thing about it is, it doesn't change the fact that there's still this axiom that holds really, really true. Hold your friends close and your enemies closer. If we really want to find out what Russia did or didn't do, the last thing we want to do is come at them trying to punch them in the face. I mean, that's just from somebody that has done investigative work in the past. The last thing you want to do if you're trying to get somebody to slip up is come at them in an adversarial way. So, I mean, if we really are trying to find out what Russia did or didn't do, then the last thing Donald Trump needed to do was what everybody apparently in the elite class and the leftist class wanted him to do, which was stand on the dais with Putin and then just turn around and sock him in the nose. I mean, they literally wanted a boxing match in Helsinki, and they're mad that they didn't get one.
I know, and it was never going to happen. It certainly wouldn't have happened under their precious Obama. It wouldn't have happened under Hillary Clinton. It wouldn't have happened under Bill Clinton. It didn't happen under George W. Bush. No president is going to go in there on that, in that kind of situation and be able to really do that. But I'll tell you who is kicking ass and taking names.
Who dat?
Did you happen to catch anything that happened at the Heritage Foundation yesterday?
You talking about the
There was a speech given by Nikki Haley.
Before you get into that, I have to share something, because as soon as you mentioned Barack Obama, the only thing I could think of was him standing in front of Putin trying to bitch slap him like a little girl.
Limp wrist.
Yeah, just the whole little fist of fury bitch slap thing. Not doing anything. Sorry, I just had to share that because I was laughing over here.
I imagine like the screech, like Putin with his hand on Obama's head while Obama tries to swing, but you can never reach him. You know, because you're just like holding it by the head, and he's like, zoom, 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 just with all his might, just swinging his arms, and you're never gonna get him.
Yeah, that's pretty close, problem. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to take you off on a tangent there.
So, Nikki Haley, and as we all know, she announced a while back that the U.S. was going to pull out of the UN Human Rights Council, and of course, everybody flipped their lid. And she gave this speech yesterday, and here's just a few little excerpts from it, as tweeted out by the Heritage Foundation. I actually got to stream some of it live, and holy moly, this woman is a rock star. She is so awesome, and I don't know what her future holds, but damn, we would be blessed if she would be one of the first women presidents of the United States of America. But so she says, the UN was founded for a noble purpose to promote peace and security based on justice, equal rights, and the self-determination of people. But it has many member nations whose leaders completely reject that purpose. The Human Rights Council has provided cover, not condemnation, for the world's most inhumane regimes. It has been a bully pulpit for human rights violators. The dictatorships of Cuba, China, and Venezuela all have seats on the council. Not only was Venezuela a member, but in 2015, the council invited its dictator, Nicolas Maduro, to speak to a special assembly. He got a standing ovation. Groups like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch sided with Russia and China on a critical human rights issue, and I'll let you be the judge of the reasoning. No one should make the mistake of equating membership in the Human Rights Council with support for human rights. To this day, the U.S. does more for human rights both inside the UN and around the world than any other country, and we will continue to do that. There was a little clip that said they were discovering mass graves in the Congo, even as the General Assembly approved its bid for the Human Rights Council. I mean, this is just, she's so hard-hitting. It's so great. She says, many of our friends urged us to stay for the sake of the institution. The United States, they said, provided the last shred of credibility that the Human Rights Council had. That is precisely why we had to withdraw. Think about that. We had to stay for the sake of the institution because we provided the last shred of credibility. She's absolutely right. Nope, that's exactly why we have to leave. Because if we stay, we are sitting there condoning all of these abuses by members, not by other countries that the members are ignoring, but by actual members of the Human Rights Council. Incredible.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't even know why. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I don't even know why we deal with the UN at all anymore. We fund 90% of it. They hate us. I don't even know why we bother.
I mean, we really shouldn't. I mean, I really, I agree with like what she said, that there were, as a time and a place where it was founded from a good place, and there was a time and a place for us to be a part of it. And there was a reason for, I think that it was necessary to have some kind of world organizations like that at various points in history. That doesn't mean we have to sustain them in perpetuity when there is no longer that need, number one, and number two, when they are failing at every single goal they set out to meet. Every standard they set to uphold, they are failing over and over and over. And so we don't need to have those in it. We don't need to have it anymore. It does not need to exist, and we don't need to perpetuate it.
Yeah, I mean, when it's kind of like everything else. things start with the best of intentions. Look at some of the things that have started in our own country, like the EPA. It was started with the best of intentions, and for a while, when it followed its mandate, it did the right thing. If you don't believe me, look at the differences between the pictures of skylines in New York City in 1976 versus today. The EPA has done really good things, but now it's this behemoth monster that continues to devour anything it can touch because now it has to justify its own existence. So that's the problem. Things that start with the best of intentions become ginormous monsters. That's the same problem that we have with unions. Unions, when people came up with the idea, they had really good ideas. They gave us the 40-hour work week. They gave us overtime. They did this, that, all these other things that were really, really good. And now basically they're just these giant money machines with nice, shiny, giant buildings, and I'm having to put money in their pockets for them to be able to pay their electric bill and put money into pockets of politicians that I can't stand. Again, things that were once started with the best of intentions have gotten to the point where they've started to outlive their usefulness because now they're more worried about their existence than they are about doing the things that they were created to do in the first place. That's when we start running into problems. Same thing is happening in our government. Everything that was created in our government, somebody thought it was going to be a good idea. It was started with the best of intentions. Now those same divisions that were started with the best of intentions are now worried about justifying their own existences rather than doing what they were created for. That's when we start running into problems. That's what's going on with the UN. They're finding new and terrifying ways to justify their existence, and their existence is no longer justified.
Oh, and by doing so, they've had to continue. They've had to keep allowing for membership to expand in these various areas from countries that are not qualified. And they do that to continue to prove that they are, evolving and diverse and encompassing and all of that crap. And really, that's all it is crap. And they are, we have watched time and time again as the UN defies the Geneva Convention on almost a yearly basis. They've been called out over and over and over for picking and choosing, and part of that has been because a lot of times those violations have come from countries within the UN and specifically from certain councils within the UN. So they will not blow the whistle when that's the case. And they've gotten to the point where they've included so many countries and so many that were questionable to ever begin with, that they put themselves in a real bind here, and they have no real authority at all anymore. And the U.S. knows it, and we should act on it. And I think that this is one of those first steps in doing so, is by withdrawing from the Human Rights Council when it is anything but a Human Rights Council.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know why they call themselves the Human Rights Council anymore, because I actually have to admit, I was a little taken aback when I read the headline that we're withdrawing from the Human Rights Council. So then I started reading about what was going on and why we were leaving the Human Rights Council. And I'm like, why the hell does the Human Rights Council even still exist at this point? Because it's doing anything but what it was created to do.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Well, do you want to laugh at someone else real quick before we go?
Sure.
We already made fun of her a lot on Tuesday, but our beloved Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the 28-year-old Democratic socialist who put her foot in her mouth the other day on Frontline, and then now she did a joint kind of town hall-ish type thing, but it was really just like an interview, but in front of people live, with Cynthia Nixon. Cynthia Nixon, the actress from Sex and the City, who's running against Cuomo in New York, and is down by like 38 points or something crazy. So they had this little joint session, and the more that I
hang on. We're starting to lose you again, so I'm only getting about every other syllable. We might want
No.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking maybe if we're quiet for a second, it'll fix itself. It usually does. Are you getting pouty over there?
I was huffing and puffing. Blow your house down. No, not your house. The internet house. Whoever's stupid house it is that's making this bad.
Yeah, I know. Actually, you seem to have cleared up again, so you might want to try again.
Okay. So Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, our little darling, our little media Democratic darling, a Democratic socialist, did a joint kind of Q&A / sort of town hall type thing with Cynthia Nixon, who is the actress from Sex and the City that's running against Cuomo in New York. And so they did this joint little thing. And the more that I hear her, actually give live interviews, the more I realize that Ocasio-Cortez is even more shallow than I thought. I mean, she is seriously just just very, very shallow in her knowledge and understanding, or at least her preparedness for answering anything, and not even just answering questions, but explaining her viewpoints and her ideology. It is cringeworthy. It is like embarrassing to watch. But anyways, they went through these certain things, and so someone asked Nixon, do you embrace the entire platform of being, a democratic socialist? And she said, I just think it's something that people are afraid of. And she said, no, that's a bridge too far for me. So she doesn't like the idea of ending all prisons and police forces. So then they asked Ocasio-Cortez about Joe Lieberman's op-ed in which he came out against her. And they said, why is he wrong? And she said, because I got elected. And the crowd applauds. Rick, did we fall asleep and wake up several months later? I didn't realize that she got elected.
Well, again, that's just because she doesn't understand the process. I don't think she realized that she was involved in a primary. I think she thought if she won that, she won the whole thing. And
she may very well win the whole thing, but she has not been elected. And we can call this another mistake, but I mean, they are piling up, ladies and gentlemen. And not only that, but let's just look at it. Say she had been elected. Okay, Joe Lieberman puts out an op-ed where he criticizes her stances, criticizes her intentions with the party, all of that. And he is wrong. And her answer is, why is he wrong? Her answer is, because I got elected. Guess who else got elected? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Donald Trump.
But that was only because of Russia, yo.
Well, we can go on and on with the people that people criticize and go, oh, well, they're wrong because they got elected, yo. I mean, is this a freaking middle ground play yard? Because that's what it seems like. I mean, she just betrays herself to be juvenile and immature in her ability to handle the criticism, handle the responses, and give adequate answers, even more so than I thought in the beginning, because I hadn't really gotten to hear her be put on the spot day after day live and on camera. And now that we're seeing this, she is not even close. And I think that's what a lot of people are starting to back off, even from the left, and the Democrats are starting to go against her because they're realizing that they maybe, hitch their cart to a horse that only has 2 legs.
Oh no! See, what happened was they hitched their cart to what they thought was a horse. Turns out it was a zebra, and the damn thing don't know what it's doing.
Not even a zebra. It's like a freaking I don't like an antelope that just wants to gallop along and frolic and play and doesn't know how to actually do the work. But yeah, and so then they asked her about her stumble on Israel, and she said, oh, I thought it was really funny because the alt-right went haywire after that. By the way, alt-right was anybody to the right of her. They're just not used to politicians acknowledging they don't know fully know a particular issue. She's like, oh, they said, what do you mean you don't know? Okay, well, but here's the problem. She gave this opinion very forcefully and very boldly multiple times. When she was finally questioned on it and asked to expand on what she thought Israeli occupation was and what rights Palestinians had, she then copped out to the, well, I'm not knowledgeable in this geopolitical area. Well, first of all, she also wasn't knowledgeable in the unemployment rate, and she's an econ major from Boston University, and she was 4th in her class from Boston University with an economics major and a concentration of study, which they don't say whether it's a minor or a double major or what it is, but a concentration of study in international relations. And I'm supposed to believe that she was out there saying these things, tweeting these things. That's part of her platform, is her opinion about the Palestinians and the Israeli occupation. But then when she gets called to the carpet on it, she just goes, oh, well, geopolitics is not really my area. Well, no, I didn't have a problem with her saying she didn't know. It was the 28 times before that where she acted like she frickin' did. That's what I have a problem with.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they do, though. They pretend they know what the hell they're talking about until they're called on it, then they backpedal. That's honestly one of the things that drives me crazy about Donald Trump, because he does the same thing. He acts like he's an expert on everything until somebody calls him on it, and then he's like, squirrel! And I'm like, okay, that's like the whole thing when he's over there and he's standing next to Putin and he says, I really don't have any reason to think that Russia would have interfered in our elections. And then he comes back home and says, what I meant to say was I don't see any reason why they wouldn't have interfered. Which makes more sense, to be honest, but I don't buy it. Because I think he was in self-preservation mode. I think at this point, and I've said this before, I think he thought that if he admitted that Russia had anything to do with the elections, we would see exactly what we saw happen on social media, and everybody would be talking about his immediate removal, and somehow his whole presidency needs to be stricken from history, and Hillary Clinton needs to be installed. Speaking of people that don't seem to understand the Constitution, last little funny, and then we probably got to get out of here. I found this on a left-leaning Facebook page earlier. They put together a picture of Barack Obama standing with Joe Biden, and they put out that unbeknownst to certain people, or unbeknownst to the American people, Joe Biden could run for president, and Barack Obama could be his VP. The problem is that can't happen. There's this little thing called the 12th Amendment that makes that impossible.
You know what, though? People, they anything they can to bring their golden child back, right?
Wasn't that an Eddie Murphy movie? Sorry.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was. Sorry, sometimes I forget you're so much younger than me. You probably don't recognize the title.
Yeah, but I know quite a few older movies, especially like the Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, all that kind of era of stuff. I'm pretty decently versed in that,
So yeah, The Golden Child was basically a movie about Eddie Murphy trying to rescue this Tibetan kid who was going to be murdered by somebody because it was going to bring about the end of the world. So anyway, it's not very funny when you have to explain the joke.
I know. Well, I'll have to look it up.
All right. So anyway, any last things you want to say on the way out? Because we're at the top of the hour, so I got to make room for the other one in a second.
I don't think so. I think we can head on out.
All right, so we're going to get out of here. We'll be back next week. Hang out here in about 5 minutes or so. You'll actually hear America Off the Rails while I will continue to vent about the news topics and events of the day, including the fact that the whole world's gone crazy. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Thank God it's almost Friday, but we're not quite there yet. See you guys later. Bye.
Well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same.
There we go. Wrong button. Now we're fixed.